Hey guys, so I've driven it. This a E93 M3 for about almost 2,000 miles now, which is pretty crazy because the previous owner drove like 5,000 miles in like 10 years, and I just drove 2,000 miles in I think 2 weeks. I drove it, quite a lot and been really enjoying it, and thought I'll just kind of do a quick walkthrough. So obviously this is kind of like the starting point of the car. I just, basically did some maintenance on the car. So the car basically came with these new Michelin Pilot All Season floors, which is one of my favorite tires, and I'm so glad that the dealer put some correct tires on it, not some cheap Michelins or other tires. It has this RW carbon front lip here. Still has the stock grills. Obviously for the LCI, the round will be the chrome. It has this same RW carbon mirror caps. So these are not replacements. Kind of see the old one there, just hung by 3M. And then it has RW carbon rear diffuser, and then obviously I just took out the secondary cats and the resonators here. So that's the resonator, that's one of the secondary cats. So keep in mind it's an oval shape, so make sure you got a good welder to weld that up. It's just a OBD. Obviously this is mandatory when you own a car like this. But yeah, I guess I wanted to go over why I picked up this E93 M3 and a little bit of how it kind of stacks up to the G80. So I've driven a lot of M3s. I think I've driven E46 and up. Driven all the different variants like comp, non-comp. This is, been one of my dream cars ever since I was a kid. Basically, my parents, their first ever BMW was a 2005 E53 green. I think it was Oxford green with the black interior and a V8. And we picked that up at BMW Toronto, which at the time happened to be the second biggest BMW dealership in the world besides BMW Germany, which is the headquarters. So it's pretty cool. It had like 7 floors, and it was a pretty cool experience. And at that time, it was 2009, and I walked in the showroom when the first thing I saw was an Alpine white E92 M3 with the red interior, and that just caught my eye. I've always wanted that car ever since that day. It's just one of those childhood moments. And obviously, going to high school and everything, this has kind of been my dream car. A lot of the rich kids in my school had this car, or even when we go to car meets and stuff, we'd be able to see this car there. But I've always wanted an E90 or E92, but I wanted to keep it under the 30K kind of budget. And this car, as you guys can see, I really was not looking for a convertible. I just kind of fell into it. Like I drove a few convertibles before I got this one, and after I drove it, I kind of got the sense, it is a hardtop. As long as it doesn't leak water, which this one doesn't. I just literally just went through a touch car wash, and it's pretty good. And when I realized, like, the main point of buying this E9X car is for the motor and transmission. And obviously this interior, although it looks kind of basic, for me it's very nostalgic because it has the old iDrive controller, this kind of setup here with the shift lights, these cup holders which work, which is a super big flex here. Of course, both cup holders work, of course. And I don't know, just using this iDrive, especially because as you guys know on my channel, I have a racing simulator, and it has the same dash of this E92. Obviously, mine was the wood interior, which I wanted. That guy that I got the interior from, he had like a bunch of trims, and I was like, hey, I want the wood trim because I'm going to keep it inside my house. But this is the leather carbon trim, which now that I get it, like, I mean, I like this a lot, but I actually don't like this that much. But Yeah, I mean, the whole point of buying this car is just for the sound, right? Like, I have a G80, which is my performance car, my track car, like, you know, my all-rounder car. I can literally do anything in the world with that car. Versus this car is a very purpose-built, you know, very specific car, right? Like, I mean, at the time, I think brand new, this car had a sticker of around like 70K. So, I mean, you're kind of getting to that, you know, triple digit mark there, or six-figure mark there. And, you know, at that time, Porsches were kind of up there. So the whole point of this is like you buy this when you want to drive it kind of all year round, a little bit, you know, not so much winter driving, but you would have it and you would enjoy it. And that's the whole point of an M car, which this car definitely does. And, you know, especially as I'm driving for 2,000 miles, it's pretty good. But yeah, this car was a 2011 E93 with 47,000 miles. Now it's at 49,000. And I think this car was listed originally for 30. Then the price kind of dropped a few thousand after they kind of listed it for about a few months. I think it was 27, and I picked it up for 26. Because I did finance this car because it was a pretty high interest rate, but I did finance it because I always wanted to just buy this car just as like a bucket list car, just try it out, see how I like it, with the intention of selling it, you know, within 6 months to a year. As you guys know, I usually change my cars every year. This is obviously my second car. I still have the G80. Gonna be making some cool videos in the summer with the G80 and this as well, you know, taking both to the track, comparing it. But I pretty much just bought this car just to kind of fix up some stuff, you know, get that ownership experience of owning an older car, which I really do miss. My first car was a 2007 GTI, just kind of around from this era. But so far, you know, it's got the new tires and everything. It's pretty good condition. I think I've almost bought an E9X car probably 3 times. Like, I've signed, put a deposit, and I've luckily got all my money back because I kind of backed out and I chickened out. But every single E9X that I've driven was, you know, around like the 60 to 80,000 miles. I wanted to keep it like under 100. I did drive one car that was 90,000 miles. All those cars, this does not work. This does not work. Even on my simulator, this does not work either. And all these buttons are all falling off, including the iDrive controller. So this just kind of shows how well this car was really taken care of. You know, the front seats do have some little bit of wear and tear because this car was like a Florida car, so obviously they probably did use it in the sun a lot. Especially the driver's seat has a little bit of creasing, but nothing that can't be fixed. Like, so far what I've done is just done a basic vacuum, did some leather cleaner, leather conditioner. As you guys can see, kind of got rid of that like weird shine, especially the steering wheel. You can see how it looks much more OEM now. But man, this car, the motor is just insane. Like, you can just put it in like third gear, and like if you're on an on-ramp, and you can get all the way, and you're literally doing jail speeds, you know, at third gear. But the thing is that, like, just ringing it out, I haven't got to like 8,300. I always shifted it right around like 7.5, because I haven't done the rod bearings on this car, right? So I really don't want to push my luck here. But this car, man, the sound is just insane, especially with the mods that I have, which is the secondary cat delete and the resonator delete. It literally sounds like a Ferrari F430 or something like that, like a really high pitch V8. Doesn't sound like a muscle car. This car, like, it drives really good at high speeds and when you're pushing it. The problem with, you know, the DCT is like around town it is very clunky. Like, I usually start it up in the third mode, and then once the car kind of warms up, I do put in the fourth setting, and then my M mode is basically like everything on and traction on. And this car is like, I mean, you really have to push it in MDM mode to really get the sides out, but like, or, you know, in traction mode, but our traction control off. But this car handles really amazing. Like, for that time, this is like a really good handling car. Like, you know, obviously this is kind of like one of the area where, you know, mechatronics really develop, and you know, you have like steering, power, EDC, suspension controls. You know, it's a pretty cool era where this car was. But like, you know, compared to the G80, like now, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I love this old nostalgic feel, but if I had to choose like one car and if they were both the same price, I would definitely choose the G80. Like just because of like how more livable it is, how easy it is around town, how fast it is, how torquey it is. This car, you really have to push it. Like you have to get it above like 4,000 RPM to really feel any kind of power. Versus G80, it's like it builds peak boost at like 2,000 RPM, which is almost like idle. I think gas mileage wise, both the G80 and the E9, you know, they're actually not that different. Surprisingly, um, this like on the highway, I'm getting like 18 or so. I think on the G80, I can get like 21. This around town though, like sucks. It absolutely sucks. I think it gets like 13 or 14 miles per gallon. I think G80 is probably like 17, 18. So it's not that far different. And this only has 7 gears. So, you know, if this was an 8-speed, this would probably get very similar highway mileage to the G80. But you know, like, you know, after you've had like all these modern cars, like it obviously lacks a lot of character from like the sound, the steering and everything. Like this steering is the best. This is my first car I ever drove was that E53 X5. It had the hydraulic steering, and this is just such a true gem of an experience of driving, you know, of just pure driving dynamics. Like this car is amazing. Let's open the hood here, but this car, man, it's just compared to the G80, like obviously, you know, this is very stiff, even when it's like third setting or whatever. Even when I put it in the most stiffest setting, I think that's the beauty of the G80. Like the G80 can go from like really stiff to really comfortable. But yeah, like I mean, when I was here in Canada, I had like my mechanic, you know, that I've been going to for a few years. He's a BMW specialist. I had him look over everything. He couldn't really find anything wrong with it. You know, valve covers not leaking. That's one of the kind of main things. The main thing, obviously, in this car is the rod bearings, which probably, if if we take it apart, it probably would have a little bit of wear. But you know, I've been taking care. I've been letting it idle a little bit, and you know, keeping it under 3,000 RPM. This is another thing. I don't know why. Every single pre-LCI car I drove, like 2010 or 2008 or 9, the gas shocks just like were failing. Versus this car, like everything works, man. It's just amazing. Just notice it has the dual strut bars here, so that's pretty cool for, you know, car of this category and of this age. But you know, power dome, just the design cues of this car are amazing. It just you know, the top works perfectly. You know, top down, this car definitely sounds amazing. That's where this car really comes to be. And you know, I kind of like how, you know, I definitely need to do the chrome delete to make it look more like an E92 when the top is up. But the top down, I think, is where this car really looks good. And just look at this front here. Like imagine you just come out of your garage and just look at this, and man, oh man, look how aggressive that is. You see the power dome. I think the lip really adds to it too. So this is actually one of my first, probably my first BMW with the lip on it. I had a few other cars with lips on it. I think I gotta get a lip for the G80. Oh yeah, I also had this thing too. I don't know if this is like a sticker or a replacement, but it's carbon fiber. It looks pretty cool. I mean, I guess I gotta keep it with the carbon fiber and probably either wrap this or, you know, get a replacement trim here. I've seen how easy it is to replace this, but I mean, compared to the G80, like these are totally different cars. Like this feels more like a muscle car compared to the G80, but the thing is, I'm sure at limits this definitely handles well. It's just that, you know, with the weight, I think the weight, when I look, this is like almost 3,600 because it's like a convertible, and the G80 is right around that 4,000 mark, so it's not really that far off weight wise. But then if you look like power to weight ratio, the G80 is just gonna blow this thing out of the water. But yeah, I'm gonna be, you know, restoring some of this trim here. I think it's a common thing, this seal here. I'm gonna replace that. This rear one is actually very common too, but looks like the previous owner already replaced it. It looks pretty nice. All these fittings are all pretty good. Definitely got to do a paint correction and some PPF work on the front end just to, you know, keep this car alive. Especially the headlights. I really want to take care of these headlights because, man, those angel lights look amazing. But let me know what you guys want to see. You know, as far as mods on this car go. Definitely interested to see what else and how we compare to the G80 in the next few months.